Ladies and gentlemen, hey, hi, how you doing? Welcome back to the channel. As we know, the Black Ops Cold War beta has been going on for a few days now. It's been available for players who pre-ordered digitally on PS4, and today it opened up for anyone on PS4 who wants to try it out. Now, if you're on the fence about getting the game, or maybe you're just someone who wants to play something else while you're waiting for IW to fix the stim shot glitch over in Warzone, honestly, I would recommend trying it out. But that said, today I wanted to break down my honest thoughts on the beta as it stands, and just how I truly feel about the game after playing it for a pretty decent amount of time so far. So if you enjoy the video at any point, let me know by dropping a like on it. And of course, if you're new to the channel or if you're not already subscribed, we are working towards 600k before Cold War releases. Y'all have seriously been crushing it lately. We've gained a ton of new subs over the past few weeks. So if you want to stay up to date with everything going on in Call of Duty between Cold War, Warzone, Modern Warfare, you name it, feel free to hit that sub button and maybe even turn on those post notifications. Anyways, the Black Ops Cold War multiplayer beta. The first thing I will say is that for the most part, the beta definitely feels like an upgrade over the alpha. Treyarch did mention that there were a ton of updates and other improvements made between the alpha and the beta, and I believe when we were actually playing the alpha a few weeks back, that wasn't even an updated version of the game at the time. So with certainty, I can say some things have definitely changed for the better in the time since we last played. The audio is a big thing that I noticed right away. Footsteps seemed way more accurate, but not like overly noticeable. The weapon audio also seemed better, as did the weapon animations for that matter. The recoil also seemed to change quite a bit on some weapons. It still got that more arcadey feel like a lot of the Black Ops games always have, but it's not nearly as much of a point and shoot system like it kind of felt like in the alpha. I think visually the game still looks pretty good. I honestly couldn't notice any major improvements between the alpha and the beta outside of just some standard lighting, but to be honest, I do expect the game to look far better on PC than also on the PS5 and the Xbox Series X, because that's really where they're focused on driving those graphic improvements when it comes down to it, because they just have more to utilize over there. Now, also on my list of things I liked about the game was the music, as weird of a thing to point out as that is. Tony Flame actually hyped it up on Twitter prior to the beta going live, and it's actually pretty good. I found myself listening to it while I had the game open in the background when I was editing. Definitely a small thing to point out, right? But nonetheless, it does get 2 thumbs up from me. As does the gunsmith system, especially with the improved details. It's pretty nuts to see all the stats that we have available now. That is another massive W. Now, when it comes to the things that I wasn't too happy with and some of the things that concerned me, unfortunately, I think there were quite a few things here that were more pressing than what I took away initially from the alpha. First and foremost here, the connection just felt really funky, really awkward at times. And it wasn't just like one game it would be fine and the next would be completely unplayable. It'd be like halfway through a match, I just felt like someone flipped a switch and suddenly my bullets were just turning into bubbles when I'm shooting. Like I swear, Thanos is back there just snapping his fingers away, cheesing me out of some kills with the bubble guns. On the real though, I don't know if this is because of the servers or maybe because of the fact that I was on a higher FOV, so perhaps my game could have gotten more laggy once a bunch of streaks were getting called in and whatnot. But the connection consistency was something that was pretty frustrating from my point of view, whether that be the ghost bullets or something else that I noticed a ton of, dying around corners. I felt like sometimes I'd die when I was half a block down the street around the corner, like there was no shot the other dude could even see me. Even in the kill cam, sometimes I didn't see my player model and yet I'm there dying. But also at the same time, while playing, there were numerous times where I got a kill and I was like, wait, how did I actually get that last bullet off? There's no way I got that kill, right? So I'm really hoping the connection improves as we go into beta weekend 2, and of course, the full game as well. But anyways, moving on, another thing that I found to be pretty irritating were the streaks. Not because of spam or anything like that, but because they just didn't show up on the radar, specifically the artillery. I'm not sitting there just waiting to hear enemy artillery incoming or something like that. I'm trying to focus on footsteps, or I'm in a gunfight, or I'm occupied elsewhere, So when an airstrike comes in and I'm dying again and again because I don't see on the radar where it's going to be, so I don't really know how to react to that, that became something I was honestly pretty annoyed with, but also kind of surprised with, because basically every streak in the past like that shows where it's going to be, or you get that alert on your screen like you would in Warzone. Personally, I think adding that in would be a very good addition. Then this next problem I think is probably going to be resolved next weekend when we finally get access to Flak Jacket, but man, the grenade spam was just nuts. It felt like the blast radius was just like COD 4, And the fact that we don't have Flak Jacket and Danger Close or whatever the first wild card is gives you 2 lethals just made the nade spam go through the roof. Also, while we're talking about the equipment, I cannot go without mentioning the stuns because they might be one of the biggest game changers in the worst kind of way. Stuns have always been annoying, right? Like, obviously, no one wants to be stunned, but the fact that you can't ADS, you can't heal, you can't really do anything when stunned because your hands are up and you're frozen is just brutal. Honestly, I think the stuns should just work like they always have and just limit your movement and your audio for a few seconds instead of just basically shutting you down entirely. Now, continuing on, let's talk about the spawns. There's actually a few points I want to bring up here. First, back in the day 1 patch notes, they said they adjusted the spawns on multiple maps, and I'm going to go ahead and single out Armada here. They said you wouldn't be spawning on the back spawn ships as much, but that did not feel like the case whatsoever. I mean, anytime I was on Armada, if I died, I was on that back ship. I had to run up, I had to zip line across, probably died to some dude sitting in a window, and it was just rinse and repeat over and over and over again. I think back in the alpha, I said we should be able to spawn on the flags that we own in Combined Arms, and I'm going to reiterate that again here. Those ground war spawns are just not too friendly in my opinion. I think being able to spawn on those flags or even being able to spawn on your teammates would be a massive improvement. Also, why exactly do we have turrets in the spawns? That's me is just saying, hey look, you got 2 options here, Timmy. You can go ahead and you can run out into that battlefield and get on that main ship and just fight against a bunch of other guys. Or you can sit here and spawn, you can stay behind a head glitch, and we're even going to give you a turret that looks out into the main map and into other spawn points. How about that? Like to me, that's only there to slow down the pace of gameplay and sort of invite people to camp in the spawn. That's getting a big thumbs down from me. Then the final thing I want to mention about the spawns is just the boundaries. Once again, I'm primarily focused on Combined Arms here. I just don't see why an enemy tank, which also, by the way, I don't agree with those being in multiplayer, completely unnecessary in my opinion. But anyways, why can a tank just roll up to my home flag and just chill out? Honestly, I think the boundaries around spawn from MW's ground war would be a really nice addition, just to sort of ensure you can't be completely destroyed after walking 2 feet forward. Now, another thing that sort of felt odd to me was the weapon leveling, but there's sort of an asterisk on this one because I think this weapon leveling would be really good in the full game just because that way you can't complete everything right away. But for a beta, I would love to experience a lot of different things, but I feel like if I want to have a decent weapon, I gotta spend basically an entire day ranking it up and maybe not even hit max level off of that. The progression here is just way too slow, but just because it's a beta, so honestly, that's not a huge concern, I would say. I also sort of felt like my aim assist would sometimes just be non-existent in close range fights, and the frames would also be really inconsistent there too. Not sure if that's a server side thing or if that's just a PlayStation being, problematic with the new FOV slider. However, either way, CQC fights always felt really awkward. Then my final quarrel with the beta is of course the skill-based matchmaking. I'm sure you guys all saw this one coming. It felt like basically every single lobby was CDL Champs weekend. We were all playing for $1 million, and that's just not what I'm here for. That said, I'm all for competition. I am a super competitive person. However, it would be cool to have a break from it once in a while and actually be able to test things out rather than just sweat it up 24/7. Obviously, this is no new topic, no new stance. I'm not a fan of skill-based matchmaking, never have been, and within a beta, like I said, I'm trying to experience all the new things. I felt like every time I would try to do that, the game would just become instantly unfun. Is that a word? Sure, I'm gonna go with it. Because the entire enemy team was going as try-hard as they can, so I'm sort of forced back into the meta. The way I see it, how skill-based matchmaking works in Call of Duty is like if LeBron was only allowed to play playoff-level basketball, and that's it. He wasn't allowed to practice, he wasn't allowed to play horse with his kids or with his teammates. He was only playing Finals Game 7 fourth quarter tie game every single time he's on. It's just not a friendly system overall. It's very repetitive, kind of gets monotonous after a certain amount of time. So when it comes down to it, skill-based matchmaking, I don't expect it to go anywhere, but if we're talking about complaints, that's a big one I have. So all that taken into consideration, is Black Ops Cold War good? Yes, for the most part. Obviously, a lot of these concerns are very niche in a sense, but at the same time, could the game be better? Most definitely. But yeah, there you have it. With all of that being said, that is currently what I think about the Cold War beta. If I were to sort of give it a Doug score here, I would say it would be like a 6.5 out of 10. However, considering I haven't played it on PC yet and it is still just a beta, I don't think that stands for too much yet. But anyways, that is going to wrap things up for today. If you guys enjoyed the video, let me know by dropping a like on it. And of course, if you're new here, if you want to help us reach 600,000 subscribers before Black Ops Cold War releases, feel free to subscribe to stay on top of the latest Call of Duty news, intel, updates, and basically everything else in between. As always, if you want to check out any of my partners, be sure to use code IMMORTAL for a spicy discount on all Scuff, G Fuel, and Control Freak products. All of those links can be found down in the description below. And once again, thanks so much for tuning in. Until next time, take it easy, have an awesome rest of your day, and I'll catch you guys later. Peace out.